Once you've completed your 4 sketches, it's time for you to disassemble your can. The first thing that you're going to do is poke a hole as close to the edge of the curve as you can, and then the same thing on this other end. I would start at the top here and press through and then start cutting. Now you'll notice as I cut, this is starting to rip. So I want to turn around and go the other direction to keep it from tearing more. And I'll cut that ridge off all the way around, right along that edge. I can trim this later in just a minute to make it smoother. Okay, once you've cut that off, the next thing to do is to go down to the bottom, to the ridge here at the bottom of the can, and then you want to start cutting along the edge of that ridge. And if you hold this, you'll notice that it starts to unfold as you cut it. And then you'll end up with a piece of aluminum that is ready to be used for your project. The next thing that you'll need to do is to wipe off any moisture and trim off any sharp edges that might be on your can, so that it doesn't, your fingers don't get snagged against it. And then you're going to use a sheet of white paper and lay your can out on it and trace around it with a pencil so you know exactly what shape or what space you have to work with here. And that's my shape. Using the photograph, not your sketch, but the photograph, you're going to begin working on your sketch. Try to make your sketch as large as the entire page. Once the sketch is complete, you're now ready to attach it to the aluminum. So you will take the aluminum, put it onto the can, make sure that when you place it on there, you're lining it up. And I don't know if you can see through this, but you can see the aluminum, it's darker where it's through there. Line it up with your lines, and we will tape it down so that it doesn't move around. Tape it onto the back of the paper. Now you're going to trace on your lines with your pencil and press very hard. Oh, first. Now you're ready to start the drawing. You need a magazine, and there is a bin full of magazines at the back of the room. This is to give you a soft surface, and then you lay your drawing with the metal attached to the back side on the magazine, and you're going to start by drawing your lines, and you want to press really hard on these lines, and you'll feel it denting into the can. pressing really, really firmly. Once you've completed that, you can remove the can from the paper, and you should be able to see the drawing through the paper. Through the aluminum. And what you're going to do now is you're going to be using a metal tooling tool. It's an embossing tool. Looks like this. You'll have to check them out with me and then check them in at the end of class. But you can draw on here kind of, I'm making little marks to create fur. Where the eye is, I can just shade inside, pressing hard. You want to be super careful that you're not pressing so hard that you're breaking through the aluminum. And what I usually do is I have everybody test how hard that is, how many times you have to go over it before you actually break through. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that like where your animal isn't. Don't do it on the animal, but you can test how strong the aluminum is so you kind of have an idea of what it is you need to do. I'm shading in to make the animal stand out. If it has fur, I'm making the shading is little lines of fur, and I flip it over and take a look at what I've done, and then I can flip it back and continue working until I get the entire animal completed and ready to be cut out. Just continue working with making sure that the texture shows up. And as I do this, he's going to start to pop out of the aluminum. Okay?